So welcome everyone to this Q&A session. This is about the India IIT that's going to be held between the 6th and the 15th of February 2025. And we're holding this IIT in Panchgani, India. Today, I'm here from the organizing and the trainer teams. I'm representing both of these teams today. And with me, I have Sudha, who is from the organizing team. And Vedur, of course, is offering us technical support to answer any questions that you may have about the IIT that might support you in understanding what kind of commitment you would be making if you signed up, or to understand what's in store for you if you're joining us, if you've registered already. Sudha, anything you want to add?
Nothing. I think I'd love to hear if you have questions, and that will set the ball rolling, so to say.
If you have questions, I'd invite you to put them into the chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll come to you and answer any questions you may have. So while we're waiting for questions, Sudha, I have a question for you.
Tell me.
Yeah. What is the big deal about an IIT anyway? What is an IIT and what can people expect if they sign up for it?
So the IIT, or the International Intensive Training, in India, the word IIT has a very different connotation. It is our engineering schools, where people, after school they enter. However, this IIT is an international intensive training in nonviolent communication. And the way I see it different from a 2-day or 3-day introductory training is that it's about living in community. We are actually living together, 80, 90 of us together in community, practicing the skills of nonviolent communication. And the IIT was something that Marshall Rosenberg began, and he used to, I think initially he used to train single-handed, and then he had a few more support trainers, and usually the group size would be 60 to 80. And we are hoping that we have a similar group size between 80 and 100 this time. Each day of the IIT, there is a theme or a curriculum which was set by Marshall Rosenberg. And so we follow that theme. And this IIT that we have also has what we call a beginner's track, so that those people who are absolutely new to nonviolent communication will get a good grasp and understanding of both the framework as well as the consciousness. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with NVC and what is your experience in NVC. But if you were to ask me what NVC is, I would say that it is several things. It is a process, it is a methodology, it is a modality. And over and above all of that, it is a consciousness that we try to live by, that we try to imbibe. So there's a consciousness that actually believes that compassion is what each human being has innately. All human beings are innately compassionate, and that in any given situation, I can access the compassion within myself and see the humanity of the other. So it's about connection, it's about curiosity, it's about the openness to outcome whenever I engage with somebody and when I engage with myself. So this IIT, it's 9 days, and there are 4 trainers. There are 5 trainers who will be holding sessions, and we'll talk more about that. I'm going to pass it back to you, Ranjitha.
Yeah. When you say an IIT is a community event, what I'm remembering is when I went to a 10-day meditation retreat, and what a difference I experienced when I'm meditating with other people in a supportive environment versus when I come back home. Somehow it seems a lot harder, when I started trying to meditate at home. And there's something about, I think it's often referred to as a sangha, the collective, the space that we collectively create. It can be so supportive in starting to, and I won't even say starting to build skills, starting to see ourselves and the world very differently, because there's so much support in the form of community. There's so much, every time I slip, I only need to look around me for a reminder of, hey, it's possible to see and do things differently. And I find that incredibly, I think that for me is the highlight of going to any IIT. Welcome to those of you who've joined us. This is the Q&A session for the upcoming India IIT in February 2025. And if you have any questions you'd like us to answer, please put them into the chat or raise your hand and ask it.
So I like what you said about the community being a sangha, or a place that we actually, it's a container and we are holding each other. And when we experience the sort of deep listening and also a sort of authentic expression of our own selves, we then have a blueprint, an experience of, and it becomes our blueprint, something that we can dip into when we go out into the outer world. And those 9 days are intense, they are fun, they are also a lot of learning and huge surprises, and hopefully a lot of aha moments, insights into oneself, insights into what our relationships can be, whether it's in the workplace or whether it's in intimate relationships. All of it together sort of somehow is held together. And when we are outside, then we can always come back to these experiences as already lived experiences.
When you say it's a blueprint that you can dip back into, one of the ways in which I describe the experience of going to an IIT or a community event like this one is, it's almost like I'm refilling my fuel tank. Because when I go out into the world, I'm one of the few people who's attempting to practice NVC in a world that sees and does things differently. And for me, this having my tank full every so often helps me come back with a lot more energy to continue living in consciousness with these values.
Yeah. It's an opportunity to experience being held and an opportunity to hold others as they go through their experiences. So I'm wondering if anything else is coming up for you in terms of questions.
We have a question in the chat. What kind of themes do we have this IIT? I guess that might be a reference to the daily themes and the curriculum, and we could also speak about the themes that the trainers are intending to offer. Would you like to speak to the curriculum?
Each day has a separate theme, and it is something like self-empathy, empathy, social change, some of the things. I'm just not doing it in the order that you will possibly experience them. Social change, parenting, in schools, etc. Then we have, those are some of the things that come to my mind straight away. Conflict resolution, healing. These are the themes that trainers will then offer sessions on based on these themes.
And my understanding is that also these were themes that Marshall Rosenberg put together as a recommendation. So it's actually called a curriculum, an IIT curriculum. And every day there will be themes starting from, I think the first day is
self-connection.
Self-connection and
the NVC principles. Yeah.
And the NVC principles, starting with that and going on to empathy and applying NVC in our relationships. And every day there will be at least one workshop on the theme, and there will be workshops for both on the theme that are suitable for both beginners and for people who are experienced with nonviolent communication. And one of the things I like about going to a multi-trainer event is that it allows me to learn from trainers who might have different styles of delivering the same themes, because I think every trainer I've met and worked with and learned from brings their own personality to how they share NVC. So that's also a bonus of going to an event like this one. There's another question here that says, will inner child be covered? And I'm wondering if you could say more about that.
Are you wanting the person who's asked the question?
Yes, yes.
Umesh, I think, is it?
Yeah. So, there was this participant, Joseph, in Bangalore IIT. He mentioned that he had gone through inner child workshop in Germany, and he very highly recommended it. And since then, I have heard about it. In another meditation retreat, I did a 2-day workshop also, and there's I think 7 lenses or 8 lenses. I've heard. So that's a topic that is very interesting to me, and I'm wondering if that will be also covered. I know it is too early to highlight all the themes.
Yeah, and also I want to speak to that, Umesh. I want to say that if you have a burning desire to see that one subject is offered, make a request, because there will be a request board. So you take a post-it, you write what you want, and you put your name on it, and you put it there on day 1 or day 2 or day 3, whenever you can have more than one request. And the trainers will have a look at it, and they will see how they can weave it into their plans. So when you make a request, there is very high chances that it will be met. And that is something that it's about also in some way, when we really want to see a process, we ask for it. And hopefully it will get, your request will be met. Does that sort of help?
Yeah, but I think, each trainer that comes along, they have some core expertise that they bring in. So is that kind of a theme? Those themes have been decided,
so it's very, the trainers work, I think, 20 hours out of 24, trying to see that all requests are met and that we are looking at different aspects of it. And so it's not somebody, we have topics in mind that are aligned with the themes. And if there's something else that turns up, then we put our topics aside and we address what turns up. So that's my short answer to you.
Okay, sure.
And this might be a moment to also talk about the trainers and the themes that their body of work, what themes they usually offer. So we have 5 trainers at this event. We have John Kenyon and Mary McKenzie from the US. We have Sabina Geiger, who's from the US and Germany. There's me from Bangalore, India, and Ramanusha from Sri Lanka. I know that John Kenyon's work at this moment is centered around conflict resolution, connecting across differences, addressing polarization and mediation. Mary McKenzie does a lot of work around self-empathy. I think that's what she's known for. And she's known for running a program for several years now that supported many budding NVC trainers get started with facilitating their own NVC workshops. Sabina Geiger offers workshops on body-based NVC and restorative circles. Ramanusha and I, both of us from India, I think Ramanusha from Sri Lanka, and will be offering, I think, I'm aware that she offers workshops on healing, reconciliation, coming from her own experience of living in war-torn Sri Lanka. And my work, I like to focus a lot on building our capacity to be compassionate with ourselves and bringing that awareness into our relationships and working in organizations with NVC. Anything you want to add, Sudha?
I think many of our attempts in sharing NVC is to bring about a social change, personal transformation leading to social change, so to say. So it's about fundamentally unlearning the conditioning and the habitual responses to each things that we have so far met, and to be able to find a different way of being and perceiving, as well as how can I be strong in making my requests? How can I dog for my needs? How can I stay connected with myself and stay connected with the other, even though we may have differing opinions? So the whole attempt is to see that to be able to spread what Marshall called as the language of life, and to actually bring about transformation in the way we connect with ourselves and we connect with other people. To have this clarity, this awareness of what am I rooting for? What am I dogging for? What am I insisting on? And what is it that I can do that I can make life or my interactions more inclusive rather than separating? How can I bring harmony and closeness and connection rather than separation? And through my language, through my intention, and through my living NVC more than anything else.
So what I'm getting is, no matter what the topic, these will be some of the underlying themes. Because at the end of the day, it is about integrating nonviolent communication as the practice. The context may be a little different.
Yes, whether it's in the workplace, which will also be one of the themes that is addressed, whether it is in parenting, whether it is in schools and education, whether it is in healing, whether it is in conflict resolution. Well, how does one absorb? How does one look at all the conflict in the world around us, and stay with our essential compassionate selves?
At this point, I want to check if there are any more questions or anything else that anyone would like to share with us. Yes, go ahead, Harish. Yes.
How many participants are expected to attend this IIT in February?
We are looking at a number between 80 and 100.
1,800, okay.
Inshallah.
And before October, if someone pays, there is a discount for that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we have an early bird discount that runs until October 14th. So if you want to make the most of that discount, we'd recommend that you sign up before that date. And after October 15th, you'll be expected to pay the full regional fee if you're from India.
Is Marshall Rosenberg expected to attend this sometime during these 9 days?
Marshall passed away in 2015, I think.
Oh, sorry, I'm so ignorant about this.
So, yeah, I'm guessing.
But I was, sorry.
I'm guessing you would have really liked to meet him.
Yeah, because I read that book and I was so impressed by that.
Yeah.
All the time I was thinking, Gandhiji is one inspiration which he always talked about.
Yeah.
And how this whole thing could be spread across the world.
Yeah.
And do you have any such roadmap kind of stuff, or it is too big to think?
I can use a Hindi expression.
Yeah.
Which I can translate. Deep se deep jalao.
Okay.
We get into it ourselves and we light the lamp of the consciousness, and then we spread it to as many people as we know. And then it gets carried from, apart from all the formal learning and everything, but it is really that intention inside of us. Can I carry the light of the NVC consciousness within me? And can I then, it has a ripple effect. Because people see me behaving or responding in a very different way from what is conventional or habitual way of responding. And there's something about it which is different. And it may open up curiosity, and then we begin to share how we recognize it and how we see it.
And that, I believe, is what Mahatma Gandhi called "be the change you wish to see in the world."
Yes. During those 9 days, suppose if I attend that and someone wants to visit me and all, can someone come and visit? Is it allowed or?
No, I think you sign a contract which says that you will come alone, and nobody who is not, who hasn't signed up for the IIT is welcome.
No, outside the working hours. If someone.
I'm laughing because, working hours is a very different terminology in an IIT. we begin with breakfast at about 7:30 or 8, and we go on till late in the night, 9 o'clock. And after that, I guess you're free to leave and to go out and come back if you have the energy and the thing for that. Yeah. I'd like to take the other people also. Harish, can we move on to the other questions that I see? Hands are up. Thank you.
I know Juliana's had her hand up for a bit, and then we'll go to Silene.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Now, the early bird discount is 20 for people who are going to the same. That is for the tuition, is it? So for the board and lodging, is that separate? And how much is that for people from India? Sudha, can you please, or Ranjitha, can you please explain that?
So yeah, it is for the tuition fee. The 20,000 is the early bird, and for the venue, it's a separate thing altogether, depending on whether you want a double room or whether you want a single room. I think for the 9 days, it is 34th. Correct me if I'm right or wrong. Vidur, please help me with this. It's about 34,000 for a double room, and it's 57 for a single room.
It is exactly that. It is 34,000 for a double room sharing with one person. This includes your food, all 3 meals a day, and the tea breaks. And for a single room, it is 57,000 for all 9 days.
And it includes all the venue costs, and everything else is covered.
Yes.
Venue cost, material, everything is covered.
Thank you.
Silene?
Juliana. Silene.
Silene, did you have a question, or was it similar to what Juliana was asking?
No, actually, I was trying to unmute myself and I was taking some time, unfortunately.
Go ahead.
So I have like 2-3 questions, a couple of them related to each other. The first is, and pardon my ignorance, it's a very basic question. What does the NVC pedagogical process look like in action when these IITs happen from session to session, right? Like what happens, what are the tools followed for the training process, right? So that is one. Secondly, you mentioned that of course the whole day is structured, like it's from breakfast to maybe dinner, but how much of it is unstructured, right? And what a typical day looks like the way it flows. I hope I'm making sense.
Ranjitha, you want to go?
Sure. When it comes to pedagogical structure, Silene, most trainers will offer, let me just maybe back up a little and speak about how the sessions will be offered. There will be certain times in the day when we will be meeting together as a full group, and there will be certain times in the day when we're meeting in smaller groups. These will be parallel trainers are offering. So at any point in time, there might be 3 or 4 sessions from different themes being offered, and you're welcome to pick the one that calls out to you the most. During these sessions, what happens is the trainers will offer NVC concepts and application of these NVC concepts. The way it's offered is very often experiential. So you'll be invited to reflect, to do practice in small groups. And this is meant to offer you a chance to really apply that concept to situations from your life, because at least for me, I believe that I can share what I know with you, and the true learning and integration happens when we're taking it into our lives and trying to look at it and say, what would that look like if I were to try to look at things differently, or if I were to show up differently in my relationships? So I'd say it's experiential. There will be several opportunities during the day that are not formal learning sessions, but will be informal learning spaces. What we call a home group, for example, is something that a smaller group that will keep you anchored time together, where you'll come together to just share how you're doing as a way of integrating the learning and the experiences that you've had. Sudha, would you like to speak to the schedule?
Yeah, maybe I could just run you through what is a typical day, and the sessions will be varied depending on what the trainers are offering. There's breakfast at whatever time, 7:30 up to or 8 up to 9:15. I think I'm not very sure about that. But there's breakfast in the morning. Soon after the breakfast, we have what is called a community meeting, where all of us will gather together in the main hall, And there will be a process which is called the remembering process, where we tune into the theme of the day. And then that is also the time when the offerings are made, when trainers will say, this is what I'm going to offer in session 1, and this is what I'm going to offer in session 3. So there are basically 4 sessions. It's divided into 4 sessions. Session 1 and 3 are sessions which the trainers will be offering. Session 2 is what we call the home group session, where you will home groups are formed on the first day, on the evening of the first day, and the home groups are smaller groups of 4 to 5 people, participants, who will, this is the, what shall we say, it's like a family in that whole, it's like the close inner circle in that whole community. So every day this home group will meet after lunch. So there's session 1, which is of 2 hours, then there's lunch, and then there's session 2, which is the home group session, where you will meet and discuss, and you have guided, you have guided material to help you through what is done in the home groups. Session 3 again is a learning teaching session, and then you have again a community meeting, which is what we call harvesting. We harvest the celebrations and the mornings that we've experienced during the day, and then finally we have dinner. And after dinner, we have one session, which is called session 4, where certification candidates, certified trainers, and people who wish to offer NVC sessions, they offer their sessions. It's also an opportunity for people to get feedback, those who are on the certification track. So that typically is one day. It finishes at about 9 p.m. Does that give you some clarity about the schedule?
Gee, it does. Yeah. Thank you. Thank
You had
you,
more
both of you.
questions?
Maybe after others
Yeah.
have had their turn.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I can add, I want to add something to this, which is that I think the schedule has also been made keeping in mind that, there's time for learning and there's time for some kind of sharing and integration post that learning. So we'll meet in the morning to set our intentions for the day. We'll have a session, and then there's a lunch break. And then we meet in home groups where we're able to share what's actually happened, one way of processing what's happened so far. And then we have a session again, and then we have celebrations and mornings, which is our evening community meeting, which gives us another break from active learning and lets us just be with what's happened with us through the day. So I think it's the design really helps me in switching between learning and taking time to really absorb that.
Because the sessions can be very intense and powerful, hopefully. And so how do I integrate it in my system? There's time required to be able to process information that we have received. Is there anything that you would like to know about the venue itself?
Yes. And have you kept any time for some sightseeing during the 9 days? Or some spots, visiting some spots? Because there's very picturesque surroundings we have in Panchgani. I'm from Pune. So I
Okay.
know, so I'm quite familiar that way.
Yeah. So there is one afternoon which we called an integration day. So it's not really a sightseeing day. However, what we have noticed when we had had conventions earlier in Panchgani is that there are early morning walks that people take up to the tableland to watch the sunrise or the sunset, and that's really, really beautiful. So the venue itself, there's a whole lot of walking space, but sightseeing, I don't think we have that factored into the program itself.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, it's so intense that no time for anything else.
And it's also a lot of fun, Harish.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because, yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to know? Pan, I know that you are from outside India, so is there any curiosity about what you need to expect?
Yeah, I'm quite familiar with India actually. I was there for 2 years, so
okay.
I'm here because I'm curious to hear. but there's nothing else. Like I'm quite open to everything.
While we wait for more questions, I want to speak about the venue a little bit. And this is a very special venue for us. In fact, when we were planning this IIT, this was the first place that came to mind. And it's because this venue, that is the MRA Asia Plateau, which is run by the Initiatives of Change movement, is very much aligned with the principles of nonviolent communication that we're trying to live. The first time I visited, I remember I heard them say, oh, this is about, an awareness of ourselves, change inside to first change inside to change the world. And that's so consistent with what we're trying to do with NVC and social change. It all starts with us first. And it also has some beautiful stories. For example, it's a completely volunteer-led movement. It's a beautiful and huge campus that's very well equipped for training and trainings like this one. And it was all built, I think, on donations, if I'm not mistaken. So there are some very inspiring stories of people who believed in and really wanted to bring more peace into the world and decided to dedicate a lot of their lives towards doing this. And that's what you'll get to see at the venue when you come. If you decide to join us at this IIT, it's really a space where you can see people who are engaged in grassroots work with peace building in different parts of India. And that's one of the reasons why this IIT for me is going to be very, very special.
There's so much emphasis on dignity of labor and a lot of emphasis on caring for the environment. So when it was first bought by money that was volunteered from people across the world, they bought 68 acres of absolutely barren land. And now it is a forest, all around. So it's a very beautiful space, very much aligned to what we call the NVC consciousness.
And I think it's a very powerful example of what is possible when a small group of people decide that they want to do something different and meaningful. So we'd invite you to join us so you can experience that as well. We have about 12 minutes remaining in our time together. Are there any more questions that you'd like answered? Umesh.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I loved in Bangalore IIT is, I actually met a lot of social workers, people who were grassroots. They were given scholarships. It was pretty amazing. Second thing, I loved the international audience. Which this was I will say, the first retreat, where I met a lot of people from outside. So is that the plan, in the Panchagani one also? Because that's something, that interests both one, the global as well as the grassroots. It enriched my experience a lot.
Yes, it is an international training, intensive training, and we have people from different parts of the world coming in.
And about the grassroots?
That too. The center itself is working at the grassroots level. So we'll have people from the center also. And there are people who are working in different organizations across. So we are hoping that there will be a rich and varied experience. So one of the evenings, there is a segment called Giraffes Around the World. You know it because you've been in the last IIT. And that is basically to find out, to get more information about how NVC is being utilized in different scenarios around the world, whether it is with in education, or whether it is with self-help groups, or whether it is in prisons, or whether, so how, and whether it is in workplaces, what are the projects that people are involved in using NVC? And it's a very nice evening to get to understand how it's being applied. And by the way, I think it was Harish who asked this question, or maybe I'm just thinking, that is the one evening that you can call people from outside in.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Thanks,
So that's
thanks.
one evening that you can actually call outsiders, your family, your friends, whoever it is, and all are welcome. Just
I
about
wanted to
all,
know that. I wanted
yes,
to know that.
all are welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Good, good.
I can add, to respond to Umesh's question, I can add a little more, maybe numbers. Our pre-registrations we've had from 22 different countries so far. And we're going to, of course, it's early days to say how many people are attending from which country, but we are expecting a diverse crowd. And there are local organizations that are engaged in grassroots work, people from those organizations who will also pre-registered. And we'll know more closer to the IIT once all these registrations are confirmed.
So, my question was more on the scholarship side of things. Okay, I know there are people who are working in grassroots, who are using NVC. Okay, but there are people in grassroots who would like to use NVC if they get proper training. Okay, so
please spread the word, Umesh.
no,
We invite all of you to spread the word so that more and more people are aware that this program is happening.
I have actually given this to many people.
Thank you.
Okay, in my network. Okay, some of them also have applied for scholarship. Okay, so.
Thank you.
Thank you for spreading the word.
And usually, I think it's also important to say that we were very clear that in India, we cannot afford the international rates, what CNVC usually charges. So we sort of negotiated, and and CNVC is very willing to recognize that there's not that economic parity that we have with the Western world, and therefore the two rates that we have, or the fees, the Indian subcontinent and some other countries, as well as the international European Western fee that CNVC does. So in a way, we are really trying to see that money is not a reason why people don't come. And having said that, sometimes it's not possible to support everybody. So therefore, we are trying to negotiate or trying to stimulate creative ways of generating money. So we have conversations with people who have this thing, and to welcome people and to say that, let's think about how we can do this together. And that's really helpful. And if there's some way that we as organizers can support, there was somebody who said that they can pay only in installments, and then that they have a specific branch of work that they are doing, and they were going to run workshops and then fund themselves. And so we said, okay, you tell us, or it was Vidur who actually made this suggestion, that you give us your flyer and we will then spread it around in the community that we have, in the hope that, by sharing the flyer and announcing that workshop in different forums, that person would get more participation. And it's such a co-held space that really makes it very enriching, both for us and for this thing. We really don't want money to be the reason why somebody does not attend. And at the same time, we don't have that much funds till we have enough registrations. So it's a sort of a little bit of an anxiety, a little bit of mystery, a little bit of hope, and and a lot of conviction that we will make it. We will make it together.
Thank you.
I think there is one more question.
There's a question from Pan.
Why giraffe is the NVC mascot? Yeah, you'll get to hear more about this during the sessions that are being conveyed. And so I'm a little torn about whether I should say anything about this or not. But Pan, let me ask you, would you like an answer right now, or would you like to wait till the IIT?
I'm just curious. You have Giraffe Around the World project, and I'm like, oh, let me ask.
Yeah.
You can choose not to.
I'll try and Ranjitha, is it okay if I go ahead? Yeah, so I'll try and do it in a way that I don't take away from what the trainers may be offering later. But somewhere the NVC consciousness and the qualities of the giraffe are very much aligned. the qualities that are very essential in, say, empathy, the quality of stillness and presence is something that is embodied in the giraffe also. There are many other qualities, but I really want to emphasize on this. And it is when we tap into that part of ourselves, that so the stillness or the presence that we can offer to the other, so that that person can then speak and I can receive whatever is this thing. So some way the giraffe is aligned with the way we understand or is epitomized in the way we understand the NVC consciousness. And I have a little story. So when there are two symbols, there is a jackal and there is the giraffe. And the jackal is the violent part of ourselves and the giraffe is the compassionate part of ourselves. And so Marshall was looking for a symbol to symbolize an animal that symbolizes the compassionate nature. And he actually decided that he would use a duck. Till his fellow colleague said, Marshall, your jackal is going to eat up the duck in a jiffy. So a duck is not happening. So what I have heard, the story that I have heard is that Marshall then walked into a toy shop and looked all around and said, okay, so what can really symbolize NVC consciousness? And then he, his eyes fell upon a giraffe. And then, more and more it became clear that, okay, this is an animal that is really encapsulates what the consciousness is about. I'm feeling a little, I feel a little excited to just share this. And I'm wondering, Pan, how is it for you to hear this?
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
With a promise of more to come in February.
Yes, definitely.
Now I'm also excited.
Yeah.
Eileen, you have a question? This is the last one before we close for today.
Yes, sorry, I'm again having problems with this unmuting and switching the video on problem. So, so I'm completely new to NVC, and it might be true for some other people as well. So how does it work out for people who are completely new to NVC? It was briefly mentioned in the beginning, but I would want some little clarity, if not too much.
Sure. So I think it may offer you some reassurance, Eileen, to hear that many of the people who've pre-registered or expressed interest in attending have indicated that they're new to NVC, so you're not alone. And we will have special sessions, especially in the first few days, to help people who are attending NVC workshops or events for the very first time, to help you get an orientation of what NVC is and build on the foundations. This is something we call the beginner's track, and there will be several different trainers leading sessions that will help you learn the basics of NVC. And then after a certain point, then it's open to everyone, because now that you know the basics, you can choose where you want to go. So if you're new, the best way to make the most of this experience is to go to the sessions that are explicitly called beginner sessions, because that'll give you a strong grasp of the foundational concepts.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, it is possible. Only you choose. You choose which session you want to go to. And sometimes the sessions are so enticing. And some of the sessions may sound really, really something very rich, etc. However, at least in the first 3 days, those who are beginners, we really urge you to stay with the what we call the foundation course or the basic course or the transformational course, which will bring about that transformation in the understanding you have. So to stay away from, and it can be very juicy, by the way, because I have done at least 3 or 4 foundational courses when I began, and every time I did something, I realized, oh my goodness, I didn't realize this. Oh, this is new to me. Or how come I don't remember this? So it added to my understanding and the laying of the foundation of my grasp on NVC concepts as well as the consciousness, so to say.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
We're at time, and
Yes.
I'd like to close the conversation for today. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined us. We will be hosting one more of these Q&As. The next one is the coming next Monday at noon India time. So if you have questions that still haven't been answered today, you can either show up for that conversation or you can write to us. We're happy to help you. The India IIT, of course, is being held between the 6th and the 15th of February 2025. This is going to be in Panchgani, Maharashtra, and Vidur is going to put the registration link in the chat. The early bird discount is on till October 15th. So if you know that you're going to be coming, please make the best of this discount that's being offered. Any last words, Sudha?
Please come. We would love to have you there. It's a joyous community, and it's a joyous learning community. And there can be a lot of richness, a lot of depth, and an experience where you understand the layers within yourself. Yeah. So I'm really hoping to see all of you there. So do come.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Sudha. Thank you, Ranjitha. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sudha.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay well. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So
Bye.
one
Bye.
question, the lodging and other that amount one has to pay by when?
That you can pay later because there is no early bird for that. So you can you can actually pay it by the 15th of December.
Okay.
That's a possibility. Yeah.
Thank you.
For accounting purposes, it's not convenient to pay in installments for the venue. We are receiving payments by installment for the tuition, provided the first payment comes in before the 14th of October. So we are doing that. We really want to support in any which way that is possible to make it possible. But the venue, they prefer, for the reasons of accounting, that we give it to them together in one, which means that if you are saving up money till December, then we put it aside and then give it together by the 15th of December. That would be helpful.
Thank
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you for
Juliana.
coming, and I hope to
Thank
see
you.
all in February.
Yes.
Yeah.